can go get it when you need it at that particular time. That's the key of having having good credit and maintaining it for when a real emergency happens. You have that card in your pocket. You can, bam, and go get what you need at that point. All right, that's the key. That's where you want to be at. You can check your credit score by assessing your FICO score at myficoscore.com. Some of these services will charge you a fee, but what I do, Credit Karma is a very, very good site. They monitor your credit for you, but they only give you two. They only give you TransUnion and they give you Equifax. Experian charges you for their credit score. And there's 3 different scores. You're going to have 3 different scores from 3 different bureaus because each agency does not report all things. So you may have a 5, 6, 7 point difference in your scores from different reporting agencies, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And you wonder why? It's because each of them, all of them do not report the same type of information. So certain things, like I said, you may have maybe a 5 or 6, 7 point difference between the 3 of those, but usually it's going to be in the same neighborhood. All right, it's going to be in the same neighborhood. So I recommend you to go on, create an account with Credit Karma, and they can monitor that. And like I said, each year you can get a free credit report from all 3 bureaus for free. And you can check on there and see what's on there, and then you can start monitoring that. And then if something's on there that you need to work on, the credit report is going to tell you what's on your report. And all the deals that you had with financially paying your bills, things of that nature, everything's going to be on that report. All right. And then if there's some things on there that needs to be changed or you need to address, then you know what to do, who to get in contact with to get these things, to get your score up to a better number. All right, you can do that. All right. Remember that your credit score is only one of many factors, such as employment. You got to be working. Income, the lender will use in deciding whether or not to lend you money. You can keep a good credit score by making your payments on time and balancing your credit spending. Learn how to budget your money. That's basically what it is. Budget your money. Don't put yourself in a bind. All right. Review your credit score. Before you can improve your credit score, you need to assess it. That's why I say get the credit report. Get the credit report and look through it. If you don't understand it, sit down with somebody that you trust and let them go over it with you. Sit down with you and go through it and see what's there, what's not there, what can be disputed, what can be removed, and what things you do, what you can do to increase your credit score over the next 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. All right, and you can do that. It took me 3 years to get from like a 520 up to a 755, 760. But I'm there now, okay? I got an excellent credit score now. But it took time to get there, all right? And you can do the same thing. And I taught you this, we talked about this a couple of months ago, about the snowball effect on how to pay bills. You start with your smallest bill and you work over to your biggest bill. Start paying each one off. You put $50 on one bill, on this bill, you pay that off. Take that extra $50 that you were paying on this one and then add it to the other payment that you were paying. You're paying $50 on that. So instead of paying them $50, you're paying them $100. You see what I'm saying? And you keep going up the mark because you're paying off the money either way. You're still paying the money out, but you just double it up on the payment after you kick off one, take that money that you're paying there and just put it to that one. That's how you do it. All right? Let's see. Any score report obtained from credit reporting agency will contain all 3 scores, so you only need one. Alternately, you can get a credit score for free from a website like Credit Karma. Like I said, you can get a free credit report each year, free. All right. You can go to creditsesame.com or credit.com. Most credit card scores range from 301 to 850, with 301 being the lowest and 850 being the highest. You can't get no higher than 850, which is exceptional. All right. Scores above 750. Scores above 750 are excellent scores. Are excellent. All right. If you want to reach that, it takes time. I'm there. I'm in the excellent category now. But it took a lot of time. It took me about 3 or 4 years to get there. But you can do it. It takes time though. Scores between 700 and 749 are good. So if you're between 700 and 749, that's still a good score. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. You want to get better? Just look at your credit score in your report and see where you can improve it. Maybe you need to hold on to the card a little bit longer. All right? Maybe you need to pay off some cards or pay down some of your debt. Because if you have more debt, that's going to affect your card too. So the lower your debt ratio is, your credit score will increase as well. You reduce your debt, all right, and then you're bringing down your credit utilization of the money that you have available, and that will bring your score up as well, all right. Scores between 650 and 699 are fair. All right, it's fair. So that means if you're in a fair territory, then you may get a higher. You may get a loan or whatever. You may get it. They may grant it to you, but you're gonna pay at a high interest rate. All right, you're gonna pay at a higher interest rate. Anything below 650 is considered poor or bad credit. All right, 650 or below is considered poor or bad credit. It's going to be very, very difficult for you, all right, for you to get credit. Know what your credit score means. When a lender requests your credit score, the credit bureau providing the score applies a complex algorithm to all the data in your credit history that the bureau has access to and creates a personalized credit score based on your data. All right, so there's no lie there. Whatever's there, that's what they're basing it on. It ain't something that they create to make you not get the loan. It's stuff that you have created that's in your score, that's in your personal history. That's how that score is how you pay your bills. All right, are you on time? Are you utilizing your money properly? All that stuff is in there. Your employment history, your income, all factors in to what your credit score is and how it's going to be reflected. That's all in there on how to determine if you're going to get the credit or not. All right. Despite the complexity of credit card formulas, each one uses the same 5 factors to assess your credit worthiness. If you know your score is low, you should determine which of these categories are likely bringing your score down. Number 1, let's look at the categories that they look at. Payment history. Have you ever been late on a payment? That's a key factor. I ain't got to say no more about that, right? Whether or not the payment in your credit history was made on time, your payment history score may be low if you have been late on payments in the last several months or have accounts in collections. That will hurt you as well. That will lower your score. All right? So that's something that you need to address. Start learning how to pay your bills on time. It may take a little time. It'll take a little time, but you got to work on that. All right? Number 2, we just talked about this. Amount owed out. How much money do you owe compared to your income that you got coming in? All right? The ratio of the amount outstanding credit in your name to the total approved credit in your name. If you have used close to the amount you approved for on your credit cards, this will lower your score. That's what that is. Credit utilization. You're using more money. You're using more than the average amount of what the money that you have available on your credit. So you may have $5,000 limit, all right, and you're using $4,000. Your score is going to drop because you're using way more than what they have given you, because now you're showing that you're not using the credit properly. All right, you're using it recklessly. All right, that's why we said you got to have the extra money, the $1,000 in the emergency fund. So if emergency happens, don't use the credit card. Use the cash that you have in the emergency fund to pay for that emergency and leave the credit card alone. You use the credit card unless it's just something strictly that you need to have. You need to use it, but you got to make sure that you have that money to pay for that, pay for it off right away. All right. Number 3, we talked about this a minute ago. Length of credit history. How long have you had that credit card? It don't have to be a credit card. It can be a store account. I remember when I was growing up, and I messed my credit up when I was very early. You go to a furniture store, you get your first apartment, you need furniture, you want a TV, you want some things, you need a bedroom set, things like that. You go to these furniture stores, they'll give you credit, and you gotta pay it. You gotta pay on this thing, right? But then that comes to the length of history. That also goes on your credit as well. Okay, how long have you had this account? That could be a revolving account, even though you may not literally have a card, but it is an open account. You see, and that's still considered credit. All right, because somebody is giving you something, even though you're going to have an interest rate on it, like anything else. You're going to pay them more, but how are you paying that, and how long have you had that account? All right, that's how when you go for a big ticket item. Car, you want to get your home, or even get an apartment. All this stuff factors in because they're going to see how you budget your money and how you pay your bills. It's all going to come through that credit report because all that stuff is being reported through there. your job, all that stuff is coming through there. All right. Number 4, type of debt owed. What kind of debt do you have? And it's very, and I had to learn this, that you can have a couple of cards, but you may not have the right type of cards and the right type of debt, because they want to know that you can manage different types of debt. It could be a mortgage, it could be a car, it could be school payments or whatever. You need to have a mixture. Store credit cards. You need to have a mixture so they can see, well, he can handle this. He's handling the car note. He's paying his rent. He's doing this. He's doing that. And that's what you need to have a good mix of credit. A mix of debt outstanding in your name. The score considers whether you have all your debt in credit cards. Don't have them just all in credit cards. All right, because that don't really mean anything. Or whether your debt is balanced between college loans, mortgage, small lines of credit. It could be through a finance company. All right, car loan, like I said. All those are a mixture of debt. So you handling different types of debt, and you want to make sure you have different types of debt. Not all credit cards. All right, not all credit cards. New credit. The amount of a new credit you have approved for and accepted. The more you borrow in a short period of time, the lower this part of your score. I'm going to say that again. The amount of new credit you have been approved for and accepted. The more you borrow in a short period of time, the lower your score. Because they see what that tells them is that you're greedy for credit. So don't open a whole lot of credit cards at one time. If you want to open an account, I say I'm going to open one more account. I'm going to American Express card. And that's it. That's it. That's all you need. Because the more you open, the more your score is going to drop down, because they see that you're greedy for credit. You don't need all those cards. Do it over a period of time. Because like I said, once you get the card or get the account, you want to keep it open. So you can build the length of time, and that also over a period of time will increase your credit score. All right? Improve this credit score factor if you can. The first step in boosting your score is to make all your payments on time. It goes right back to that budgeting. Paying your bills on time. Because payment history is generally the largest portion of a credit score, you can improve your score by improving your payment history. If you improve that one part of your credit report, you will be on your way to having a great credit score if you pay your bills on time. That's one of the major factors in a credit score in your credit report. Paying your bills on time. You can do that. You have already had 3/4 of the battle won. I'm telling you. Pay those bills on time. All right? You can also improve other areas of your credit score, like amounts owed and types of credit, by reducing your overall credit balance and taking out a credit line, taking out credit a little at a time. Only use it a little at a time. Credit utilization. Don't use all of it. Don't use 70% of it. Use 20% of it or 10% of it, and then pay it back. You see what I'm saying? Use it wisely to benefit you in the long run. Because like I said before, a good name is better than silver and gold. When you have a good name, you can go get what you want when you want it. And that's what you want. All right, we're going to go over, wow, we got a lot of stuff here, don't we? We're going to go, let's see. Okay, we're going to go, and what we're going to do is, I think next week we're going to deal with credit utilization. We're going to go through a few more things, and then we're going to stop. And then next week, we're going to come back and deal with credit utilization. All right? We're going to deal with credit utilization, and then what is the actual FICO score, and then that's how we're going to divide it up. I think that's the way we need to go with this. All right? Let's continue on. If you miss a payment, make it as soon as possible, even though it's going to ding you. Now, some people, in some areas, they may give you a grace period, and it may not affect your credit score. Now, you got to understand, you need to ask questions. Now, it shouldn't be your intent to be late, but you always need to know and find out if something happens in an emergency, how much time do I have to pay the bill before it affects my credit? All right, you need to know that. All right, now usually when it comes to rent, usually they give you to the 5th of the month, normally, or it's your mortgage is usually the 5th of the month. Now, car notes, usually they may give you maybe a week to 2 weeks to pay that car note before it's late. All right, but you got to ask the question first. If you don't ask, you're not going to know. Like I said, it shouldn't be your intention to do that. You need to know before you even buy something that you have the money to pay the bill. All right, but the point of it is, if you know the information, just in case something happens, you know you have a grace period to pay before it affects you. All right? Your score reflects the number of days a payment is late. Now it's going to hit you. All right? But if that place say, well, we don't report it if you got the money here by this said date, you're all right. That's why you need, like I said before, information is wealth. Information creates wealth. And once you have the information, it can benefit you if you know how to use it wisely. All right? So even if you're late, still prioritize getting your payment in or contacting your creditor. That's what I said. Get the information beforehand. All right? If you find yourself missing payments frequently, set up a calendar alert, email reminders, or automatic withdrawals to pay your bills on time. Now that may be good for some people. If you know that you're not good at paying bills and being accountable, get it direct deposit out, get it withdrawn out of your account right away, so you don't have to deal with it. On a certain day, you know when your money's coming in, your check or whatever is going to be deposited, and you know a bill has to be paid. So you say, well, I want to set up to take it out on the 15th. And the bill is due on the 20th. That way you safeguard yourself and you ain't got to worry about it, because you know each month or each pay period or whatever, you got a certain amount of money coming out to cover that particular bill. All right? If you have a high outstanding credit balance, either use savings to pay off some of that debt or stop using credit cards until you pay down your balance. Very wise. If you have too much debt, start paying off some of those bills. Use the snowball effect. Like I said before, start the smallest bill, pay that off. Don't use those credit cards. Use cash until you can pay those bills off, so you don't get yourself into a predicament where you're going to put yourself in a hole that you can't pay the bill, and then you're going to start being late, and then that's going to affect your credit score. All right? Unless you're in an emergency situation, you should aim to use less than 1/3 of the total credit you have been approved. What I said before, 1/3. Less than 1/3. You don't want to use half. 1/3. That's where your goal should be at. Anything over that, you're using too much. All right, you're using too much of the credit. All right. If you just took out a new line of credit, give yourself 1 to 2 months cushion until you open another line. You say you gotta wait some time. Wait a few months. Wait a few months. All right. If you are a brand new to credit cards, your credit score may be just below average. You shouldn't worry about your credit score as a new borrower. All right, because you got time to build that. All right, you new at this, so don't worry about it. All right. Other than to remember to make payments on time. It goes back to paying your bills on time again. And not to borrow everything you get approved for. So don't go out there and get every single card that you see that you want. No, that's going to hurt you in the long run, because that's going to ding you, because it sees that you are greedy for credit and you want a card just to buy the stuff that you want. And that ain't how it works. And you will be affected by that. All right? Know when to ask for help. If you get yourself in trouble when it comes to finance, get the help quickly. Ask questions. Get somebody to assist you. All right. Don't keep digging the hole deeper and deeper and deeper. Everyone has bumps in the road, and if you truly can't pay your bills, there are steps that you can take to preserve your credit history. Some creditors won't send your account to collection if you agree, and that's true. If you get on the phone and say, I agree to pay such amount per month, they'll work with you. They won't turn it in. They won't turn it into the credit union. And as long as you make an agreement with them and you have cleared it with them, then you can go ahead and do that. All right. A credit counselor can help you consolidate your debt into one line with a reduced monthly payment. Working with a credit counselor now to find a solution may save both your future finances and credit score. All right. Don't use all your credit. We just talked about it a few minutes ago. A rule of thumb: aim to have an outstanding balance of less than 1/3 of the amount you approved for on credit cards. I'll read that again. As a rule of thumb, your aim on your goal to have an outstanding balance less than 1/3 of the amount that you're approved for. 1/3. 1/3. That's all you should be using. All right? Because the approved credit limit is generally based on your income. They give it to you on how much you earn. They're going to give you the amount, whatever you earn, they're going to give you an amount comparable to what you make, That way they can see, they're going to give you enough that they will give you enough cushion that, well, if he makes this much, he should be able to pay this, he should be able to pay this amount. Or we're going to give him this amount because this is what his income says that he can handle. All right? That's how they're going to do it. On a large amount, they may indicate you are nearing your spending limit and are a risky borrower. And if you get yourself in a position that people see that you're a risk, they ain't going to give you no money. They're not going to lend you because you're not going to be dependable, and you may default on the loan, or you're going to be a bad risk and they're going to lose money. All right, and then your credit score will suffer for it. All right. Use a budget to guideline your spending. We talked about that earlier. Take out